right, so let's just breathe. I hope you guys are enjoying the series. Thank you, Thomas. That was beautiful. Okay. We're talking about how we are learning who is my teacher. So last week we talked about experience being our teacher, and I think it's all of our teachers, and I hope that you got something from it, and you can always go back and listen to the awarenesses that we had again and again. So today, karma is the teacher. So let me try to get us all, because I know everybody has a maybe slightly different perspective, but have you ever had somebody who just kept repeating and repeating the same thing to you, and you go, I hear you, I know, and you don't really realize that you're missing something? That's karma. It repeats and repeats and repeats, and it's so annoying because you think you know what you got. I know what I need, I know where I am, I know what's going on, and it keeps repeating because you're missing something. So I know you've had that in your life from a friendship basis. Now we need to look at it from a personal basis. All right, karma is, basic metaphysics 101, cause and effect. Intention plus action, we intend something, we do something, an effect will return to us. That's cause and effect. Karma is when we have an intention plus action that takes life away, then we have to balance it out. There are acts that give life and there are acts that take life away. And when we take life away, we have to balance it out, number one. And if I'm doing cause and effect and I take life away, what's going to come to me? My life will be taken away. That's the effect, because what I put out will return to me. The effect is always what you put out. It's going to return to you. So it will return to you by taking your life away. But do you even realize why your life is being taken away? No, so you'll do it again. It'll return to you again, and you'll do it again. It'll return to you again. You understand? And now you've got a lot of debt where you've been diminishing life in the world. If you weren't raised with these concepts, it's very difficult, I think, from our standard Christian theology to grasp them. But, when I was a little kid, I knew, 5 years old, I knew there was more than one lifetime. Because you wouldn't just come, grow old, and die. That just made no sense. And I had these epiphanies in my brain, like, this does not make sense. And then you start having memories of other times and spaces. And so it becomes common acceptance that this is a reality. But when you're raised in the Christian Judeo faith, where you're supposed to fear life, it's one and done, and dang it, if you don't walk that line and do what we say, you're in trouble. It's harder to break out of that fear-based and understand the eternity of the circle. And there is an eternal circle. We have eternity to grow and evolve into our godlike selves. We have all eternity to realize we are children of God. All eternity. So we get to make mistakes. We get to come back. We get to make mistakes. We get to come back. A villain will draw a victim, will exercise power, and then incur a debt because they've diminished the power of another. The effect of his act will return to him as power being exercised over him. The effect will be received, but will the debt be paid? Until the causal thought is shifted, the debt cannot be paid because the power exercised over another will continue to do it. I hit you, she hits me, I hit you, you hit me. It's the realization that what I am doing is creating it has not hit yet, that I am creating this. I hit you, she hits me. I go, why'd you hit me? I hit you, you hit me. Why'd you hit me? Really is totally unaware that I am setting it up into motion. I am hitting people. I am setting it into motion, and it's returning to me. I'm getting attached to that motion. I'm diminishing life. So now I have to go back and make right. Sorry I hit you. I'm sorry you hit me. Sorry you hit me. Sorry I hit you. We have to go back and to change the causal thought so we can do things differently. The realization of having harmed and miscreated will create a need to restore balance. Once I realize I have miscreated, I need to restore balance somehow. And that is when we heal our karma. Okay, got it? All right. So, First, we realize that it doesn't feel good. Second, we realize we don't know how to stop it. And the third is we don't realize we created it. We know it doesn't feel good. We don't know how to stop it, but we do not realize we created it. And that keeps us on the karma spin. Got it? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start with a story in the Aquarian. I think this is going to help you. All right, 138. Peter, James, John, and Jesus are all walking into Jerusalem. And Peter says, Lord, if a disease and imperfections are caused by sin, who was the sinner? His father, his parents, or him? They see a blind man on the side of the road. You don't know this, guys, but in the Jewish faith, if you have any impairment in your body or anything bad happens to the tribe, somebody's at fault, and they will get in trouble for it. And when the tribes are crossing through, in the Old Testament, through the wilderness and stuff, if something bad happened to the tribe, they looked for the house that might have caused it, and they killed them all. So there is inherent in the Jewish faith that if something unfavorable is happening to you, then there's a sin somewhere. So who sinned? The man or his parents, right? And Jesus says this, afflictions are partial payments of debt, because there's a law. Whatever a man will do to any man, another man will do to him. That is the law of cause and effect. We just went over it. I'm going to do it. Intention, act, it's going to come back to me, the effect. All right. He who shall injure anyone in thought, word, or deed is judged a debtor to the law, and someone else will do like to him. He who sheds blood will have his blood shed. Affliction is a prison cell in which a man must stay until his debts are paid, and by debts being paid, the blind man had not realized that he had taken life. He was suffering, but he still did not tie those two things together, that there was a reason he was having that experience. So he must pay his debt until unless a master sets him free, that he may have a better chance to pay his debts. Okay? Then Jesus said, behold, this man, once in another life, he was a cruel man, and in a cruel way he destroyed the eyes of a fellow man. The parents of this man once turned their faces on a blind man and helpless man and turned him from their door. So the parents have an issue with blindness that they have to heal, a prejudice, and this man actually took someone's eyes out, blinded someone in a cruel way. So the man was born to parents who had an issue with blindness, and he was born blind. Did you see the karma of it? I got to experience what I put in motion here. I've got the experience. So, well, when we heal people, are we paying their debts? When we heal them and make them better, are we paying their debts? And Jesus said, we cannot pay the debts of any man, but by the word we can release them from their distress and afflictions and make them free, that they may pay the debt they owe in a different way. By giving up their life in sacrifice for men or other living things, they need to now give life to life. So once they get it and once they are healed, then they balance that circle. They give because they want to. Oh, gosh. When you realize you've been hurting or harming, do you not go, oh, I didn't mean to? What? I'm so sorry. What can I do? How do I make this right? How do I heal this? And this is a natural human thing. We don't want to hurt or harm people. So when we realize it, we try to make amends immediately. A lot of times we don't realize it. We're on that circle. I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you. No. You're harming, you're harming, you're harming, you're harming. We don't see it. All right. So Jesus said, we can make this man free that he may pay his debts. And so he says to the man, he called to the man because the man couldn't see. He was beggar. He was a beggar at the city gates. Would you be free? Would you receive your sight? And the man said, all I have I would give to receive my sight. Jesus took saliva and a bit of clay, and he made a salve, and he put it on the blind man's eyes. Then he said, go to Siloam and wash. And as you wash, say, Yahweh 7 times, and you shall see. This is the only time in any of the scriptures, it may have happened more, but it's the only time that Jesus sent them away from the point of healing to take an act to demonstrate their willingness. This man had to literally leave, go to this river, wash his eyes, and say, Yahweh 7 times. And people had to help him, and they did. The people guided him to the river, and he did it. I would give anything to see, he said, and he did it. So he instantly saw, and his eyes were open, and the people were surprised. They knew him as the beggar. They were all in shock. And then they said, "Are you him?" And he said, "Yes, I'm him." And then he explained to them what happened, because not everybody heard. He told them, "This man named Jesus did this for me." A certain scribe was passing, and he saw the man and heard that Jesus had said the word and opened this man's eyes, and it was Sunday. This is a sin to do anything on Sunday. This is the Jewish law of toe the line, sin. So he took the healed man to the synagogue, and they started questioning him. And the priest said, "What are you doing? What is this miracle we hear about?" And the man said, "I never saw light until today. I was blind from birth." Now, this man doesn't remember his past life. He doesn't remember that he hurt somebody. All he knows, I was blind from birth. This morning, as I sat beside the river, a man I never knew put on my eyes a salve that people say he made of clay. He asked me to say a word and bathe my eyes in the water 7 times, and I did, and I saw. And the lawyer said, "Who was it that opened your eyes?" And the man said, "His name is Jesus, and that he came from Galilee is what people say. Others say he is the Son of God." And the Pharisee said, "It's Sabbath. No one should do this. This man's not a son of God." And they started arguing, and they didn't believe that the man was sick. And they said, "Well, who do you think he is?" And the man said, "I think he's a prophet sent from God." Well, they were now really mad. "Well, you aren't blind anyway." They call in his parents, and they're holding him hostage now. They call in his parents, and they said, "Was this guy blind when he was born?" And they say, "He was born blind, and we do not know how he received his sight. He is of age, and he can tell you," because they were afraid. They went on. The rulers said Jesus was a wicked man, and the man said this Jesus may be sinner or be saint, I do not know. But once I was blind, and now I see. And then they started yelling at him, "You are a follower of this man from Galilee. We follow Moses. This man we know him not, and not from where he is." And the man said, "It is a marvel you don't know who he is, for he opened my eyes. You know that nothing but the power of God can do such things. God hears not sinners pray, but you know that he is not a wicked man who can employ the power of God." And they said, "You wretch, you were begotten and born in sin, and now you try to teach the law to us." And they cast him from the synagogue. So the man has born blind because of what he did. He's now had a master come and open his sight. And he stood before the most powerful law in the land. And he said, "I see clearly. This is a man from God. You cannot tell me it is not." He healed me. And he was cast out from the synagogue, which means probably he was in trouble. You know how they used to excommunicate people from the Catholic Church? Probably it was akin to that, like, yeah, you're no longer worthy of our religion. So it was a big deal. But do you see what he did? He saw the truth with his eyes. He saw the truth. And he spoke it. And he let himself be cast out. This is actually also the only place in the Aquarian where Jesus seeks someone out. Someone told him what happened to the blind man. And so Jesus went and found him. Never do we see Jesus seeking out someone who he had healed. But he did this one. And he said to him, "Do you believe in God and in the Son of God?" And the man said, "I do believe in God, but who is he, the Son of God of who you speak?" Jesus said, "The Son of God is who speaks to you." And the man said, "Why do you say the Son of God? Is there only one?" And Jesus said, "All men are sons of God by birth. God is the father of the race, but all are not sons of God by faith. He who attains victory over self is son of God by faith, and he who speaks to you has overcome. And he is called the Son of God because he is the pattern for the Son of Men. He who believes and does the will of God is son of God by faith." And the man in joy exclaimed, "Lord, I believe in God and in the Son of God." He saw clearly that Jesus was Son of God and all men are sons of God. He saw clearly. Then Jesus goes on to talk about how he brings the message to so many people and they cannot see. All right. What do you think the blind man did from that point forward for the rest of his life? Do you think he went and pretended to be blind so he could beg for money again? Beg for food? No. Do you think he went to the Jewish faith and tried to plead his cause so he could be reinstated into that faith? No. This man got a clarity that was so clear to his soul that the realization of clear sight was there. The causal thought of why he took someone's sight before was now healed because he saw the value of life. He saw clearly what was going on. And I believe that this man spent the rest of his life teaching. I believe he taught. I believe he helped other people see. I think he gave sight to people. He was giving sight to the priests. He was giving sight to people. He was giving back what he had taken. Do you see? Some of the most cherished missions that we are on represent things that we might have done a little sideways in another lifetime. We have to heal. We have to heal those behavior patterns that take us into repetitive discomfort. Repetitive discomfort. So I love this man. I think it was great. He was humbled when he was blind. They had to humble his soul because he was pretty cocky when he was cruel and took guys out. They had to humble him by making him blind so he could be in a position to heal. So the whole lifetime was created for him to have that opportunity to heal clearly and succinctly. When causal thought is changed, Spirit said this, a lot of energy is released that had been held in the karmic pattern. And this is called dharma. Life-giving force floods into you because you've shifted that thought. Life-giving force floods into you because you've shifted the thought. Life becomes joy and it becomes effortless. Okay? All right, I'm going to give you a Cindy story. I was young. Patrick and I had been together within our first year. That's okay, Patrick. If you've gotten second degree from me, you've heard this story because it's my second degree story. We were young. We were scrubbing it. Interquest, we were just scrubbing it. A friend of mine had a condo in Florida, and she said, if you guys, he had 2 children, I had 1. If you guys will go paint my condo, you can stay there for a week free. The kids can go to the beach. It was right on the beach. And we was like, oh, we're all over that. So we drove down in my car, all 3 kids and Patrick and I. And one morning, I don't know if he said it that night or that morning, he said something that was so horrific. It was awful. It was so awful. And it wasn't anything you can imagine awful. It wasn't anything like that. It was the behavior that he was putting toward me of something that was just, I was livid. And I said, oh, heck no. And if we'd both had cars, I would have gotten my kid, who was 6 years old, 5 years old, thrown him in the car, and we would have been back home in a nanosecond because I was done. What he said violated the very essence of who I was. It wasn't anything in the outer. He didn't do anything, didn't hurt me, didn't touch me, it wasn't anything inappropriate in your world. But in my heart, it was horrific. I was done. I was livid. My son will tell you, anytime I say I'm livid, the earth is going to rock. I am livid. I got my coffee that morning. It was really early, and I started walking. I was on the water, walking the beach. I had my coffee in my hand. And I said, God, I am over this. This is not happening anymore. And I started to send Reiki. I said, Father, Mother God, I'm sending this Reiki to every time in any lifetime I have ever been treated this way by a man, any dimension, any world. I don't care. I'm sending it. It's healed. It's not happening. And then the words came out immediately. And I send this Reiki now to every lifetime I was a man and ever treated a woman that way. Any dimension, any lifetime, through time and space and the universe. And I was convicted. I wasn't going to play that game. And obviously, I wasn't going to do it. And I just kept saying it and sending it. Because my soul, notice I didn't send it to him. I didn't send it to our relationship. I didn't send it so he wakes up and gets wise. I didn't send it. It was me. I wasn't doing it. wasn't doing it. I walked down, turned around, started walking back. Here comes Patrick down the beach with his little cup of coffee. And I don't know if you know that smile, that little boy smile of, am I in trouble? So he walked up to me, and I think he literally said, am I in trouble? And I went, yeah. I couldn't remember what he said. I couldn't remember what had happened. I sent that Reiki so deep that it was completely out of my consciousness. And I said, you're lucky, I know Reiki. But I want you to hear, he probably said those words to me to be the script I needed to heal it. Because it had never happened before in the year plus we'd been together. He'd never said it to me. That's why it hit me so hard, so fast, so like I'm done, you know. But he probably was an instrument to my healing. And 30 years later, I still don't remember what he said. I don't. It was that deep. But I want you to hear what happened. When I'm sending it to me through time and space, I will no longer do that for every time I was a woman and treated this way. Oh, then the words immediately every time I was a man and treated somebody that way. Because I played both ends of that. I had to have. And that was a moment where a karmic pattern healed within me. And it healed so deeply, I don't need to remember it. You hear me? It healed so deeply. When we have things that bother us like that, do you hear? Our normal reaction would be, God, fix him. He's broken. He wasn't broken. He was just being him. Do you hear? Okay. So that's my story. I wanted to read the Aquarian too. Jesus said, we cannot look upon a single span of life and judge anything. I can't look at your life and judge you. There is a law that men must recognize. Results depend on the cause. You set a cause into motion. Men are not motes to float about within the air of one short life and then be lost in nothingness. I love that. They are undying parts of the eternal whole that come and go, so many times in the air of the earth and of the great beyond, just to unfold the godlike self. So we are unfolding our godlike self. If we are children of God, if you are children of God right now, and God gave you a little planet to help people grow, are you ready? Can you handle that? Can you handle that without opinion? Can you be unconditionally loving and supportive and not attached to what's going on that little planet? No, I don't think any of us could. I don't think we've unfolded our godlike self yet to have that power to create with love as God does. But we will one day. A cause may be part of one brief life, results not noted until another. People will counsel, they want revenge. I said, this is that soul's karma. The soul they'll learn in their own way. Take your hands off the knife. Don't get involved in that. Get back on your path. Because they will reap what they sow. That's a law. Stay on your path. All right. The cause of your results cannot be found within my life, nor can the cause of my results be found in yours. Except I cannot reap except I sow, and I must reap whatever I sow. So then he goes on to talk about, we see men in power that really can't put two thoughts together. And while the brilliant men are hiding in the streets, we see women who have no sense of self running countries, queens, and we see God's brilliant women tilling the soil. We cannot understand why a soul picks a certain path. We have to trust that they're having an experience that they need so their soul can grow. When man sees no further than one little span of life, it's no wonder they say there's no God. If you would judge aright of human life, you must stand on the crest of time and note the thoughts and deeds of men as they have come up through the ages. We must know that man is not a creature made of clay to disappear. He is part of the eternal whole. There was never a time when he was not, and time will never come when he will not exist. Man may escape punishment that seems his due, but every deed has its return, and everyone has to learn. Okay? Does that help you guys? All right. So often we tend to look at other people and want to be there. We want a front row seat when they get theirs. Sell the ticket. Sell the ticket. You don't want a front row seat. Stay on your path. Let them handle theirs, and pray that when it comes back to them, it's soft. You can pray when someone hurts you. You can pray that their karma is softened, not multiplied, softened. All right. Look to the uncomfortable patterns in your life. If you ever say to yourself, "Oh, here we go again, karma. It's happening again, karma. Why can't I find love? Love's all around you. Love is in you. Love is who you are. Karma. Why don't I have friends? Karma. Why do people always betray me? What have I done? Karma. Why did I pick my parents? Karma. These all have sources that are deeper than you know. Especially, why did I pick my parents? You strategically picked those parents for your life, for your journey. So looking at the patterns, I just wanted to say this. Anytime that you feel like you are a victim, you are looking at a power outside of self. Anytime you feel like you're a victim, look to your own self. What am I oppressing? If I ruled and demanded my way in a lifetime and I come back and I am ruled and I don't like being ruled and I don't like people demanding, I can go within and I can start ruling my own world. Just rule my world. Don't worry about other people. Come to peace. Give life. Give life. Anything that's bringing you into uncomfortable patterns, you can reverse it into giving life to. Do you understand? In some way, you'll know how to do it. You will know how to do it. So we want any outside power we can pull our power back from and start working on what within us might have created it. Little tiny example. I'm hoping this will be helpful. So I was told when I was a little girl, Cindy story. When I was a little tiny girl, my voice was so high and shrill. People didn't like being around me. They didn't like me talking. And I was told that when me and my cousin, I have a double cousin, we have mothers or sisters, fathers or brothers, so we got similar DNA. When the two of us were in the same room, no one could be in the room with us because we were so loud and so shrill. And when my mom would tell me that, it hurt my heart. It really hurt my heart so deeply that nobody would want to hear me laugh and everything. So I'm 5 years old, and we're in Denver, and 4 or 5. My brother's a year younger, my sister's a year older, 3 little kids. We have one little bedroom, and my dad said, go to your bedroom. We were all shared one little bedroom because we were poor. Go to your bedroom. He had a guest come over. He was showing him a gun. He said, be quiet. Well, we're just 3 little kids. I'm 4 or 5, I'm laughing. He pops that door open, monster man, 6-something feet tall, and I get the belt because I was making too much noise, because my voice was too annoying. And as he's hitting me, I hear the man in the front sending me sympathy. He's having compassion on this tiny little child. Think of Hazel getting the belt, compassion on this tiny little kid. But what registered in my mind was, why am I being punished because I'm happy? What is it about my voice that bothers people? And, I've had several things, even recently, been told I screech when I was trying to sing. So someone came, we were rehearsing for something we were doing at church, and someone came to me before the performance and said, please stop screeching into the mic. And I went, will do. So I sang like this. Do I have a karmic issue about my voice? Thank you. Am I feeling a victim about my voice? Yes, thank you. Is the world telling me to stop voicing when I'm happy? You can talk if you're mad, but if you're happy, stop it. Yes, there is a karmic pattern there. Now, of course, once I realized I could send my prayer out like I did the other time, but we can also realize that the pattern says I'm not allowed to be joyful. Have I ever made people not be joyful in another lifetime? I'm supposed to be quiet. Have I made people be quiet? Not had the freedom to be myself. Have I done that? Not allowed others freedom to be themselves. Have I done that? I could certainly see myself as a nun or a priest going, we are quiet here. Follow those rules. Of course I could have done that. I could have squelched everybody's joy. Stop laughing, people. But the awareness of it Seasoned. How many years did it take me to hear it? Seasoned. I carried that cry, nobody likes me, for years. And only recently see it as karma. Karmic pattern that keeps repeating. I am not invited to parties because I'm too loud. It's the truth. We don't want her. She doesn't drink, but she acts like it. It's truth. Truth. So I am healing a space within me that suppressed joy. Anytime I suppressed joy, or anytime joy was suppressed within me, because I know they're both there. Does that little example help you? Okay. Karma, guys, is not a punishment. It's a realization. It's a realization that we are caught in a spin that is not promoting life in me or life in the world. That's what it's promoting. So just that realization that karma is my teacher. Thank you, God. Thank you for everybody that made fun of my voice. Yes. Now I know what I need to do. Thank you. Do you hear me? All right. So we're all being taught by karma, just like we're all being taught by experiences. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, you are being taught by karma. So it's just a moment for us to take a new tool into our tool belt of how to make our lives better. So you want to try it real quick? Let's do just a real quick meditation. We're tight on time today. So let's just put our feet on the floor. Take a breath. Father, Mother God, we ask that what we now do be your will, your love, and your light. And I would invite you all just to see a beautiful calm of light come over you. And let your heart open. And feel that Jesus is with you, and you can lift up that calm of light just a little bit so you feel free, feel open. And I want you to ask to see a pattern that is in your world now. A pattern that you don't understand. One may come quickly. You may see a symbol you don't understand. Or you may see the pattern as you walk through your week. It may not be revealed right now, but we're going to ask. And as we ask to see, we will. And Father, Mother God, as these patterns make themselves visible, we now ask for forgiveness and love for ourselves, for the creation of the pattern, for any time that anyone has been harmed, any time I have been harmed. And just feel a beautiful sense of forgiveness, love coming from your personal heart, moving to heal anytime I have harmed, anytime I have been harmed. And Father, Mother God, we call forth life. As you give life freely to all in every breath, we ask that your life move through our lives in every breath, that we help life grow, that we express and expand life. And we are so grateful. And just feel a beautiful circle of energy around you, energy that came to you, through you, to issues and back. Heal, healing, love. And Father, Mother God, we thank you for this moment in time. And we begin anew. We are so grateful. Take a breath. Feel Jesus Christ walking with you. Let your focus come back to your chair, to where you sit. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I wanted to do that little prayer with you so you have a tool to use. Do you see how quickly we were able to do it? And sometimes you do not even know what you're sending it to. If you're uncomfortable and it feels like an uncomfortable pattern, shoot it out. Stop and breathe. I don't want to do this anymore. You don't have to wait till it makes you crazy or mad or do something that you won't be happy about. All right. Do you love karma? Yes. Say, yay, God.